The clock on the kitchen wall showed 9:47 p.m. when I heard Sarah's heels clicking against our marble floor. She was humming softly, that little tune she always hummed when she thought she was being clever. For 8 months, I'd been listening to that same melody every Friday night. "Mark, honey, I'm home." Her voice carried that artificial brightness she'd perfected lately, the same tone she used when lying about working late or attending another emergency meeting with clients. I sat at our dining table, hands folded, watching her struggle with her coat. Her lipstick was slightly smeared, and there was a faint cologne scent that definitely wasn't mine. She looked radiant, happy in a way she hadn't been with me for years. "How was the corporate event?" I asked, my voice steady and calm. She froze for just a millisecond, so brief that the old me might have missed it, but I'd become an expert at reading Sarah's tells over these past months. "Oh, you know how these things go. Boring presentations, terrible wine, awkward small talk." She laughed, but it sounded hollow. "I'm exhausted." I nodded slowly. "I'm sure you are." The silence stretched between us like a taut wire, ready to snap. Sarah moved around the kitchen with practiced efficiency, making herself tea chamomile, her go-to drink when she needed to calm her nerves. I watched her hands shake slightly as she poured the hot water. "The kids called earlier," I mentioned casually. "They're having a wonderful time at your mother's. Emma said she might want to stay an extra day." That's nice." Sarah's voice caught slightly. She was staring into her teacup as if it held the secrets of the universe. "I'd sent the kids to their grandmother's house deliberately. Some conversations require privacy, and I'd learned to anticipate Sarah's moves months ago. Every Friday, after her meetings, she'd come home with this restless energy, like a caged bird ready to break free. Tonight felt different though. There was a finality in the air, a sense of conclusion approaching. Sarah kept glancing at me, then looking away, building up courage for something. "Mark," she started, then stopped. "We need to talk." I figured we might. I gestured to the chair across from me. "Please, sit down." She remained standing, gripping her teacup like a lifeline. "I've been thinking a lot lately," Sarah began, her voice growing stronger with each word. "About us, about our marriage, about what I really want from life." I leaned back in my chair, studying her face. After 15 years together, I could read every micro-expression, every subtle shift in her posture. She'd rehearsed this speech, probably in the mirror, maybe even with him. "We've grown apart, Mark, you know we have." Her eyes met mine briefly before darting away. "We're like strangers living in the same house, going through the motions." "Are we?" I asked quietly. "Yes," the word exploded from her. "When's the last time we really talked? When's the last time you really looked at me like I mattered?" I could have told her about the countless times I'd watched her sleep, wondering when she'd stop being the woman I married. I could have mentioned how I'd noticed every new dress, every change in perfume, every time she came home glowing with someone else's attention. Instead, I simply said, "Go on." Sarah took a shuddering breath. "There's someone else, Mark, someone who sees me, who appreciates me, who makes me feel alive again." The words hung in the air like smoke. "David from the marketing department," she continued, as if saying his name would somehow make this easier. "We didn't plan for it to happen. It just did. David, I'd met him at the company Christmas party. Tall, charming, recently divorced. He'd complimented Sarah's dress that night, and I'd watched her light up like a teenager with her first crush." "How long?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. 6 months, she lied smoothly. It had been 8, but who was counting? Sarah set down her teacup and straightened her shoulders, finding her resolve. "Mark, I'm leaving you. I'm leaving you for him. David and I, we want to build a life together, a real life, with passion and excitement and love." I finished for her. She nodded, tears starting to form in her eyes. "Yes, real love, not this, whatever we've become." I stood up slowly, my movements deliberate and calm. Sarah watched me with growing confusion. She'd expected anger, shouting, maybe even begging. Instead, I walked to the hallway closet and pulled out a large suitcase. "I packed this for you last weekend," I said, setting it down beside her. The color drained from her face. You packed for me?" Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. "Your favorite clothes, toiletries, that jewelry your mother gave you." I opened the suitcase, revealing neatly folded garments. I wasn't sure what you'd need at David's place, so I tried to think practically. Sarah stared at the suitcase as if it were a venomous snake. "How did you know about David?" I pulled out a manila envelope from beneath her clothes. "Sarah, I've known for 8 months. The late meetings that weren't on your calendar, the new lingerie I never saw, the way you started working out again. Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh my goodness. You changed your phone password, but you forgot about the laptop we share. Your messages sync automatically. I kept my tone conversational, almost friendly. David seems nice. He really does care about you. Sarah sank into the chair she'd refused earlier, her legs no longer able to support her. Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you fight for us? I considered the question seriously, because you weren't fighting for us either. Sarah, you were fighting to get away from us. The truth of it settled between us like dust after an explosion. There's something else in the envelope, I said gently. Divorce papers. My lawyer drew them up last month. The settlement is fair, more than fair. Actually, the house is yours if you want it, though I suspect you'll prefer starting fresh with David. Sarah's hands trembled as she opened the envelope. The kids know about the separation. They're old enough to understand that sometimes people grow apart. They want us both to be happy. I paused. Emma asked me last week why you seemed so sad all the time. I told her that sometimes adults need to make difficult choices to find their happiness again. Tears were flowing freely down Sarah's cheeks now. I never wanted to hurt you, Mark. I really didn't. I know, and I meant it. You wanted to feel alive again. There's nothing wrong with that. I handed her the suitcase handle. David's a good man, Sarah. He'll make you happy in ways I apparently couldn't. And maybe that's okay. She stood slowly, accepting the suitcase. What will you do? I smiled, the first genuine smile I'd felt in months. I'm going to figure out who Mark is when he's not trying to be the husband that Sarah needs. I think it might be interesting. Sarah walked to the door, then turned back. Will you be all right? I think we both will be, I replied. For the first time in years, I think we both will be. The door closed softly behind her, and the house fell silent. I looked around our living room, soon to be just my living room, and felt something I hadn't experienced in ages. Peace. Sometimes the end of one story is just the beginning of another.